John Reeves. All right, guys. Our guest today is Elliot Coleman of Good Tiger. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing fantastic. It's pretty humid here in New York, so I'm dealing a little bit with that. But aside from that, I'm okay.
Nice. So I was expecting, honestly, whenever you got on camera, I thought you were gonna have the huge beard and the hair just looking beautiful, like a young Bob Ross. But
I I had had enough of it after my last bowl of soup. I've grown beards out before, but not quite like that. And with the humidity and the cheese in my soup, I had had enough. I was trying to make it to January, but I just couldn't do it anymore.
people just don't understand. Like I've grown a couple of beards out, and they don't get how hot it is. And like once you get past that itching phase, it's okay. But dude, it's just a face sweater, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, it would have been handy in the winter. I didn't think I could grow a beard quite like that. And that was like a little over 3 months. So it wasn't like
Dang.
anything super impressive, but I mean, it was long enough that it was knuckle deep, you know?
Nice. You could hide some things in there. Is the
Yeah. Mainly my food.
nice. Well, man, so I really one main reason I wanted to get you on here. There's a few, but the big thing is y'all released Good Tiger just released Raised in a Doomsday Cult.
Hmm.
And my big question with that is, and something that I think is very unique to you guys in this sense, is you released this during a global pandemic. And I just I've seen a lot of the different marketing that y'all did with this album as opposed to what I've seen with other album releases. And how would you say that this, the world going through that, how would you say that that affected this album release?
I mean, I guess we were kind of faced with the decision of either sit on it
Mm-hmm.
for an unknown amount of time because, what if, knock on wood, it won't last
Yeah.
another 2 years. But I mean, I would prefer an album that we had finished up last year, at the end of last year,
Mm-hmm.
um, to have come out sooner rather than later. And we're not like a big band or anything, so I don't really think it hurts us to just kind of do something like that.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I would be fine with releasing another album, next year. Like
Oh,
there was it really didn't affect us in any way.
yeah.
There were no plans to tour or
Mm-hmm.
anything, so
Yeah.
you can put out whatever you want whenever you want.
Is that different from like whenever you released your first album, um, Head Full of Moonlight, and you did a lot of touring to back that one up, right? Y'all toured with Between the Buried and Me and August Burns Red and
Yeah,
bands like
Periphery, Dance Gavin Dance. That was
Mhm.
all on that album cycle.
That is insane, man. So how did y'all before this pandemic, was that pretty much the plan, like to release this album, not necessarily put as much into touring the album?
We were certainly hungrier at the beginning of this group
Hmm.
in that sense to get out on the road and play it live. But
Hmm.
I couldn't say that the pandemic slowed down anything because
Yeah.
we hadn't toured since spring of 2018.
Hmm.
So it's not like we were chomping at the bit or
Yeah,
just
yeah.
ready to go. It
Yeah.
was, I think we're all content with putting music out,
Hmm.
and if an offer is good
Yeah.
enough, to kind of
Hmm.
do that. And us being an independent band, there's no pressure from a label to go out to promote the record on the
Yeah,
road.
yeah.
You
It's
know,
so. I mean, do you feel like the industry is different in that sense now from even whenever y'all first released your first album, and like it's not necessarily required of bands now as much to go out and just do the grinding and touring.
I have had I'm in an odd position where I've been in a couple of signed and touring bands.
Mm-hmm.
I've never felt label pressure, and this dates all the way back to 2010 when maybe it kind of started to change where
Mm-hmm.
you had to be on the road all the time.
Yeah.
Um, and you know what? I mean, that's when I started touring. Maybe it started well before that, but
Mm-hmm.
we always got offers and we always took them in any band I was in,
Yeah.
unless it was like the worst kind of deal. And I
Yeah.
think even management would kind of explain it to
Mm-hmm.
whomever needed to hear it that maybe this wasn't the best fit for the band or the right move.
Yeah.
But um, I honestly have no idea.
Yeah.
It hasn't been. Yeah, we didn't feel pressured
Hmm.
by anybody because again we're our own boss at this point.
Yeah, I think that's awesome though, man. I mean, like, in two, just the way that, like, I guess I feel like the coronavirus and this whole pandemic has kind of almost allowed people to capitalize on, um, like how well they're doing with marketing and social media now, you know?
Mhm.
And I just did y'all have somebody come in and help with the marketing of this album the way that y'all did it and the releasing them? I mean, you pretty much were like, here's the whole album on YouTube and different songs and stuff, installments.
We have a manager
Mm-hmm.
that will run ideas by,
Yeah.
and he will act in some ways almost as kind of like a how many people are in a band? Four, so like a fifth member,
Mm-hmm.
um, which I guess any good manager will do.
Yeah.
But I think that was a concept we came up with on our own, really by
Awesome.
Dez,
Yeah.
who's kind of like the I'll say leader. He always
Mm-hmm.
comes up with all the brilliant ideas, and we all kind of follow his lead.
Yeah.
He floated that idea that would
Mm-hmm.
be a smart way to do it because again we're a very small band that
Oh man.
in the grand scheme of things we're a very small band, and it just seemed to make sense that
Mm-hmm.
why put out a song, have a 3 to 4 month lead up
Mm-hmm.
to another single or to an
Yeah.
album or something like that. It just made
Mm-hmm.
sense to kind of just put
Yeah.
it out one by one.
Do you feel like since y'all have done that, do you feel like a lot of other bands are going to be like kind of following suit in that aspect?
It went over really well.
Mm-hmm.
We're certainly not the first to do that. I'm not 100% sure, but the band Sleep Token, whom I've heard the name of,
Mm-hmm.
uh, maybe that's where Des got the idea from. I honestly can't remember.
Yeah.
Um, I think he did. He just suggested that that's what they had done and that it
Mm-hmm.
worked really well, and it seemed to work for us. I guess you'd have to kind of ask another band just to see how
Yeah.
they took it, but it worked really well for us. It was
Mm-hmm.
the smartest thing we could have done, and I would suggest it to a band that again isn't a band like Dance Gavin Dance. Maybe that wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
work as well because
Mm-hmm.
they generate hype.
Yeah. Yeah.
Periphery, same sort of deal, but
Mm-hmm.
again for us, it kept the songs fresh in people's mind, and having the animations going along with that was
That's what I was gonna say. Like, y'all did it, and it looked so professionally done, and just so like that. It seemed like that was the plan all along, with or without what's going on in the world right now. And it y'all made it look really seamless and like smooth.
as
It,
soon as that idea was brought up, I was on board. Once I saw Tim Grove's work,
yeah.
it's weird when it's not a concept album, so there's no
Mm-hmm.
overall theme to anything.
Mm-hmm.
But we all kind of suggested he just wanted kind of just small suggestions on what it would be to what he should be going for.
Yeah.
And we kind of came up with the theme of kind of like an endless. I forget what it's called, but it's like not a mirror image, but it's like a endless mirror type of
Mm-hmm.
deal,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess that's where the album art came from. And
Yeah.
then we had the idea of loops, of just a looping visual to go along with each song, rather than like full on music videos. Obviously, that
Yeah.
would be pretty complex.
Mm-hmm.
And every single thing he was coming back with, thumbs up right off the bat.
Nice.
Right,
Yeah.
right with it right off the bat.
Mm-hmm. Man, well, going back, like, how was working with with your last album that y'all came out with, "We'll Be Gone"? How was working with Adam Nolly get good? And like, I know y'all already kind of had a relationship before that album, but
Sure.
yeah.
He is obviously a friend of the band and
Mm-hmm.
has been for a long time. He's known us all individually for a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but to be honest, I didn't work directly with him. I was working with Forrester for vocal
Mm-hmm.
production. Uh, the first album was all done all in house, minus the drums, which Nolly engineered
Yeah.
and mixed. He
Oh, there you
mixed
go.
he mixed the album.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then or wait a minute, I honestly can't remember if he mixed the first one. I think Des did. Um, but yeah, I honestly wasn't working closely with them for
Yeah.
a whole month. We were in England for a whole month
Mhm.
recording this thing, and I was in a separate room the entire time. But I mean, he's an
Stay there,
easygoing
Nolly.
guy.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I'd brush him out the room.
Nice. Get out
No,
of here, Nolly.
he's a. I mean, he's a smart guy. He has
Yeah.
great ideas. So, uh, easy
Yeah.
guy to work with.
Hmm. Man, I like just I know I was watching. I think I pretty much got into Good Tiger whenever your second album was coming out, and so I started seeing a lot of like the. I think maybe even Misha might have posted like, um, an in studio type thing, or it was maybe you and him playing guitar together or something. I can't remember.
For the second album.
I think so. It might have been right after it even came out too. But Misha was playing, or you were playing guitar. Misha was, and I was like, that riff is freaking beautiful. And I'm trying to think what.
Anything I would have been recording with him would probably be for a little project him and I have. What
Mhm.
you might have seen actually is a little promo video I made where I
That might,
fake punch him in the face. Is that the one?
that might have been it, dude. Yes.
Because I mean, we used to live in the same area, and
Hmm.
back when that album was coming out, well, actually, when that album was coming out, I'd already moved to New York.
Hmm.
So maybe I was just down in Maryland at his place. But yeah, I shot a little promo with him to promote, like, I think the day before the album came out.
Hmm.
That might have been that.
I think that's what it was. But I remember seeing like the guitar riff was what I was like, man, this is freaking beautiful. And I think the first thing I asked, I think I sent you a message. I was like, did you do the guitars on this album? Because it's like, I don't know, just the style, man. It's almost like, um I can hear a lot of different influences from in there, but it's almost like a cleaner, maybe not as like not going into as gent as like Haunted Shores and stuff like that. You know, like I'd almost throw it in.
I mean, that's a high praise to be compared to Mark. He's certainly.
Dude, that guy, my God. Well, speaking of influences, man, like what would you guys say for you vocally? What would be some of the influences that you kind of were raised on, and what brought it into Good Tiger?
Influences specifically, like who I enjoyed listening to.
Yeah, like you've got a very unique voice, and I mean a very unique style, and especially in in the bands that you've toured with. I like your band and like your vocal style, and then August Burns Red playing where they don't hardly do any cleans, and you've got like these beautiful highs. Like where did that come from in the genre that you kind of started into?
I was never one for emulation when I was a
Mm-hmm.
kid. I listened to a lot of Jeff Buckley.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to a lot of Axl Rose when I was
There you
younger. Um, I love Julian Casablancas from The Strokes. He's like one of those guys.
go. Yeah.
But I kind of always, I think, kind of had my own vocal style. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if anybody particularly rubbed off on me.
Mm-hmm.
And because I was never very good at kind of emulating a certain sound, that's probably why bands prior to Good Tiger didn't work out as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because to be honest, the way I sang in Tesseract, which I sang for them for a little under a year, so not a very
Mm-hmm.
long time. Not really enough time to really kind of get my bearings with the band,
Yeah.
or develop
Mm-hmm.
my sound with them. But I feel like you could probably take, if you look at anything live, any of
Mm-hmm.
the some of the better live performances that I did with them,
Mm-hmm.
you could probably apply that same style to Good Tiger. I think it's been
Yeah.
consistent throughout.
Yeah.
Um,
That's why I
so I
think like you just stand out like as a vocalist. You stand out and then like in especially like Tesseract and like actually what year did you play with Sky Eats Airplane?
so I joined them in I think I technically joined them kind of like the fall of 2009, but we didn't
Mm-hmm.
start touring until January.
Okay.
Uh, but I wasn't even their vocalist. I auditioned to sing for them.
Mm-hmm.
The issue was I was not a very good screamer. I was okay, but the biggest issue was I was not consistent at that. I think
Hmm.
my okay scream could have carried me if I had been consistent at it, because
Hmm.
the music would have been transitioning into more singing type of stuff. But
Yeah.
screaming some of Jerry's parts,
Hmm.
I'm definitely not a screamer now.
I was about
I
to
was a
say, man, it'd be like like think of I don't know how much screaming really does affect your voice. Like I've been a screamer in a metal band a few times, and like I don't know that. Do you feel like you'd still be able to hit some of the notes that you're doing now if you would have kind of been that harsh on your voice back then?
I suppose it depends on the type of scream, because obviously there are people who have it down to a science. I
Mm-hmm.
was never able to really internalize the technique.
Yeah.
Somebody like Jerry Roush, who was the original
Mm-hmm.
Sky Airplane vocalist, he's a great screamer, but there's no technique there. He is
Yeah.
yelling, and
Mm-hmm.
it breaks up, and it sounds really thick, really good.
Yeah.
Spencer's a good example of
God, dude.
somebody that knows, he just knows how to do it.
Yeah.
And I think he has admitted that he has damaged his voice throughout it,
Mm-hmm.
and then he's figured out what was doing that, and he was
Mm-hmm.
able to resolve that.
Yeah.
For me, I had and still have like
Mm-hmm.
a growl, and that's
Yeah.
only thing I know how to do, and even that kind of irritates. So there's clearly something I'm not doing right
But
there.
man, but like I mean, I don't know. You can put out an entire album where you're not like screaming, and you can still fit in the genres, so to speak, and like
Sure.
and play with the same type of bands. Like if
Oh,
you
I'm
if
sorry. Were you asking how that would have worked if all I did was sing
no,
throughout?
no, no. Yeah, well, I guess I was saying, do you think like you could? Do you feel like you'd still be able to hit these notes that
Oh, I see. I
you're
see.
hitting now, but without
Probably,
like
probably not.
damaging? For real, dude. But I mean, I that's what I really the thing I like about you guys is like you can play with a band. Like if you open up for Periphery, I don't think anybody would be like, "Who the fuck are these guys?" You know what I mean? Like,
We did open up for them though, and people
mhm.
were
Who the
like, "Who
fuck
the
were
fuck
these
are these
guys to you?
guys?" Well, Vale, we played right under Vale. It
Hmm.
was I mean, we were super new. If we went out now with
Yeah.
them, I think it would be okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's a lot of people seem to have a bit of trouble placing the genre of the band.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that. I promise there's never been an agenda with the band to be confusing,
Yeah.
musically, or it's just it is honestly the band I was born to be in,
Yeah, man.
and to me it's just a rock band,
Yeah.
where all the other influences people hear, a lot of people have different opinions on what the band even sounds like, and
Hmm.
I'll take it. I think we all have a pretty strong musical background, like
Hmm.
different influences from one another, not tremendously,
Hmm.
but enough that whatever we all bring to the table, it kind of really makes a nice delicious soup.
Yes, definitely. I honestly, man, like I was telling you before we started the recording, like if I can like it and listen to it, and I listen to stuff like I listen to everything. I mean, I listen to Periphery for sure. I listen to like really heavy stuff like Chimera. We just had a Mark on their podcast, and like I listen to a lot of heavy stuff, and I love Good Tiger. Like I like challenging vocals, I guess is one thing I would say too. And like your range is just I don't know, it's beautiful, man. But
Well, thank you. I've always kind of been under the assumption I don't actually have as wide a range as I'm given credit for. I have I mean, if you hear my talking voice,
yeah.
it's not super. It's been described as there's a bit of a richness,
Hmm.
but I don't have a very low register. And when it came to uh, the last album,
Hmm.
that was something I was concerned with.
I liked that a lot though, dude. Like the if you weren't my son, I'd hug you. Like you kind of
Oh
showed
yeah.
off your
Well,
lower
that's
range.
Des singing though on that song.
Oh really?
So yeah,
What?
that's funny.
Oh my
Because
god.
that's one of my favorite songs. By the way,
Yeah.
he has a solo project called Former Wrestlers. If you want to hear him sing
Hmm.
more, Des doesn't sing a lot on the albums,
Hmm.
but we've made it a tradition. He'll fill out some backing vocals throughout a
Yeah.
few songs, but in terms of taking the lead on some songs,
Hmm.
we started doing this with the last album with the song "I'll Finish This Book Later."
Hmm.
Um, and him and I mean, he's one of my best friends in the world,
Yeah.
and so I thought it'd be cool. We were talking
Dude.
about it. I was like, it'd be cool to kind of have him sing part of it,
Hmm.
and we uh decided from there on out, we would make it a tradition that like the last song of every album, he's gonna sing like half of it.
That's freaking awesome, man. So like all the lower register was him, and that's so weird that like, do y'all hang out a ton? Like,
We talk every day for sure.
Yeah.
He lives in Arizona though.
Oh, there you
He's
go.
but he's also he's British. He has a British accent that I actually hear come through the music.
That is so wild, dude.
Yeah.
Whenever I heard it, I was like, well, this is different. This is a different register. I haven't heard it.
No, that's him.
It totally explains it. That totally explains it.
Mainly throughout the other songs, he doesn't really stick out because he's usually layered really, really thick with me. But going back to, I wanted to expand my lower range. So I took a voice lesson before the recording of the album to work with somebody that could kind of demonstrate how it would be best to maybe get to some of those notes.
Yeah.
And I think it helped. There's not like, any Barry White type of shit going on.
Yeah.
He did a good job helping me understand really just how to breathe and get to that. And I think it helped round out some of the vocal performances.
And a lot of people don't understand that either, but like without knowing how to hit some of the notes that you're hitting already anyways, and then trying to go lower and like attempting those new routes with your voice can damage it just as much as screaming can, if you're not doing it correctly. So that's a very smart move going to a vocal coach, man. That's an awesome one.
I've actually done 2 vocal lessons. 2017, I think I did whatever tour. Okay, so I'm pretty sure I did the I the Mighty tour with laryngitis.
Yeah, I think when you were coming through Nashville, we were gonna do like a podcast, and I was like, "Can we get you on there?" And you're like, "Dude, my throat is fucked."
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I think that might have been it. Did y'all play Nashville there?
Was that with Protest the Hero, or was that with I the Mighty? So I did one tour with laryngitis, like that I found out afterwards, and then before the Protest tour, in between that, I found out I had it from an ENT.
Yeah.
And then I was on antibiotics to kind of help clear it up, and then I went to a vocal coach to make sure that it was gone.
Yeah. How was touring with like Protest the Hero? I know growing up with them, they were freaking nuts, like crazy people. And then like I think like more recently they've kind of have they toned down in their like touring experiences?
So I actually had toured with them in 2011.
There you go.
2012. And Dez and Joe, who play guitar in Good Tiger, used to play in the Safety Fire, so they had toured with them before as well. So I'm not great friends with the guys, but it was easy enough to go, "How you been? I haven't seen you in a lot of years," and let's go have fun. It was
good tour.
Yeah. It was very, very easy, nice people.
Nice
to tour with. And that's kind of, what you hope for.
Yeah. And, like somebody too, I would say like he kind of, I don't know that he necessarily gets in the same register that you do, but like his voice showed like, or he normally, like he gets there,
Rhodey? Rhodey Walker?
Yeah. I think he calls himself the Chode sometimes.
Chody, yeah. Yeah. Well, he has, I would say he has a wider range. And I would also say that the higher notes, the ones that we equally hit, he hits with more power.
Man, I met him at I think it was a Warped Tour forever ago. And I was in high school, man. And I went up to him. I was like, "Hey, I really want to be a vocalist." And I was like talking to him. And I was like, in vocal lessons at the time. And he was like, "Man, I let my vocal teacher hear what I was doing. And she told me like, I fucking sucked." And then, he was like, "You should probably stop vocal lessons." And that was like his advice to me.
He's very consistent. He sounded great. But he did have to cut kind of like a show and a half near the end of the tour because I don't. So the last show we played, I don't even remember what it was. It was in Canada, where you're from. And no, I'm just kidding. We played the same venue three nights in a row.
Oh dang, that's cool.
and he had an issue that I can't remember if the middle show they played instrumental, but I
Hmm.
don't I know he was if they didn't he wasn't able to play the whole thing,
Yeah.
and then the next night the same thing, and I think that was something that had never happened to him.
Yeah.
So he had some sort of issue
Hmm. It's
that I
it's.
think he,
Oh, go on. Go on. I'm sorry.
oh no, it's fine. I think it's been resolved at this point.
Hmm. It's cool to see. Like, I know. I think back in, I mean, whenever they released like their fourth album, he was having a lot of troubles with his voice, and like live, he wasn't really hitting those notes because I think he was like maybe straining his voice too much. And then the last time I saw them live, he's just like nailing them, man. Like even some of his older songs.
It's kind of funny. He did do something I've heard other singers do, which
Mm.
is right before the show go, I don't know, and then he goes out and just nails it. You know, had no issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes the adrenaline will kind of take over.
Hmm.
I think I've gotten to a point. I was always comfortable enough on stage that I never got caught up in it.
Hmm.
So I was never really able to just kind of fly
That's
by the
freak.
seat of my pants. If
Yeah.
I would hear myself and go, one of those nights, you know.
Dude, that's awesome though that you've got like that stage confidence, man. Like,
Well, sometimes I wish. I mean, it's awesome, but like when the first minute and a half
mhm.
of your set, and you're like, just get me off this thing. The worst place to be is on stage when you really just don't want to be there.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I did an acoustic show this one time and like on stage and I think we just got off of like doing a full band like metal tour. So we did like an East Coast tour and then came back and played at an acoustic show at like this rundown bar in Nashville. And it was exactly like that. As soon as the first song goes through, I'm just like, ah. And there's like just a lot of really trash drunk friends of mine. And I was like,
At least your friends are there, right?
yeah, 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 true, true.
That's an acoustic gig. I mean, you're as exposed as can be. That's
Hmm.
it's not easy.
It's like it's terrifying actually. Like the first time I ever did an acoustic show, we played like a songwriters night in Nashville, and I never knew how like not good of a musician I was until I went and played this songwriters night. There was like we played at the Bluebird, and like right before I played, um, a 12-year-old girl gets on stage. She's like, "This song's about my dad who passed away." Everybody, the
That's
whole
it's very unfair to have to follow something
no,
like
it
that. By
was
the way,
so rough, dude. Everybody was crying. She sounded like a 12-year-old Taylor Swift. And like whenever she got onto the stage, I get up there and I'm like, "This song's about my ex-girlfriend. I really didn't like her." And then
they're
just
like, "Who gives a shit?"
put Taylor on. Put baby Taylor on. It's so bad. It was so freaking bad. But so do y'all plan on like whenever all this goes like the pandemic stuff goes away, do y'all plan on doing some, future shows, maybe not massive tours, but do y'all plan on doing some local shows or some shows again?
Not really. No, there is no local for us because
Oh yeah, well,
two members live in the UK. One guy lives in Arizona.
yeah.
Here's what I'll always say:
Mm-hmm.
we would never turn down a great offer.
Mm-hmm.
I've toured in a way that I, I'm very appreciative that I got to play in a band that toured,
Yeah.
not the world, but the U.S. multiple times,
Mm-hmm.
overseas as well. And I'm in the unique position that I got to do that with three different bands,
That's
four
freaking
actually,
amazing,
four
man.
bands.
Nice.
For a
Yeah.
guy who was never even in a garage band, really, you know what I mean? Who never was really in a band, and his first show was on tour.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm pretty thankful for that. But I am 36 now,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm a bit tired when it comes to that. I
Mm-hmm.
love writing music. I love
Yeah.
creating albums.
Mm-hmm.
The live aspect of it, the show is fun, and I
Yeah.
love being there. But everything else to get to that point
Yeah.
is very, very, very tough.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, speaking about that, man, like, how did you get started in your musical career? You said your first show was like on tour. How did it
first,
come to be?
first real show, and not to take away from me and some buddies back in the day, kind of
Hmm.
like playing like a house thing, but
Yeah.
there was no real goal there. It wasn't like
Hmm.
this is it. Like we're going to try to
Yeah.
get this out of the house party. I just found a band that I really, really like listening to in Sky's Airplane.
Hmm.
And, I'd love to say that I was so talented that they picked me out of like a sea of people. But I mean, the
Yeah.
reality is, I was recording my audition with somebody who was friends with members of the band and was
Hmm.
able to kind of get that to them. They didn't necessarily, well, maybe they did put a bug in the air like this is somebody you should go for.
Yeah.
At that point, it was a who you know sort of deal.
Hmm.
And I still had to beat out some people for sure to get
Yeah.
that spot. But, once I got that, just because I was in that, I was able to jump into Of Legends, from Of Legends, Tesseract, from Tesseract to, yeah. So that's
Yeah.
kind of, it just kind of happened. I just kind of found a band I liked
That's
and then
awesome
just
though.
kept up with it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very cool, man. Like, from Tesseract to Good Tiger, like, how did y'all form like pretty much a super group? And I know you might get tired of hearing that, but like, how did you guys all get together as a band?
Uh, so I think, I'm sorry. I was doing nothing for a
Hmm.
while, for about 2 years after Tesseract, and the safety fire ended.
Hmm.
Uh, and a week after the safety fire ended, Des contacted me and said, "I'm not ready to stop playing music and stop being in a
Yeah.
band." Um, and I'd never met Des, but funny enough, Des is the reason I joined Tesseract
Hmm.
because I'd never heard of Tesseract. I'm sorry, I'd heard of the name Tesseract. I didn't know
Hmm.
anything about their music,
Yeah.
and he recommended me to them.
So you had never even met him at that point, and he's like, dude, check out Elliot.
Yeah,
That's freaking awesome, dude.
but I think I mentioned I had met, or maybe I didn't mention this, but so I had met Nolly about 2007, 2008.
Mm-hmm.
I've known me and some of the guys in Periphery,
Hmm.
Jake, Mark, and Misha. We all lived in the same area.
Oh, that's really cool
So
though, man.
so we met around 2006. So
Hmm.
we're all friends. Misha and Nolly were close. Nolly came to
Hmm.
visit Misha, and then I met him.
Yeah.
Um, and so Nolly knew Des back in the UK.
Hmm.
So we all so basically it was a
Yeah.
very tight knit sort of
Yeah.
deal.
That's awesome.
Uh, but I guess now that I think about it, me having met Nolly doesn't really equal me joining Tesseract because of him. But
Yeah.
so basically, I was doing some side project with Misha back in the day that we
Hmm.
still have. Um, and I think Des heard that, and that's how
Yeah.
he had that to reference and suggested me
Hmm.
to Tesseract.
That's
So
wild.
that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
But going back to how Good Tiger formed, he contacted me, asked what I was doing, and I
Hmm.
told him I'm not doing anything.
Feeding
I don't think,
pigeons, dude.
and I don't think I'm going to be doing anything. And I won't lie, I immediately said I would love to work with you, and I
Yeah.
meant it because I was a big fan of Des.
Hmm.
The Safety Fire,
Hmm.
I thought it was really cool, unique stuff. I didn't really know what he had in mind of the band, but I told him whatever you want to do creatively,
Hmm.
I'm on board. And he said, "Well, listen to some of the ideas I have first before you just sign off." So I
Yeah.
was like, "Okay." And I listened to like 30 seconds of I think Where Are the Birds, um,
Nice.
and I was like, "I'm on board."
Let's
You know,
freaking do this.
I was like, honestly, man, I'll do whatever you want. you know, I'll write. If you don't like what I'm writing, tell me what to sing. Like whatever. I
Yeah.
just want to work with you.
Yeah.
And you know, him and I weren't friends. I had
Hmm.
met him. Um, oh my goodness, I can't believe I forgot about this. So actually, I toured with the Safety Fire
Hmm.
years prior to that, um, but we never hung out. So I guess I did kind of know Des again,
Yeah.
but I totally forgot about that. That's how much we didn't hang out. I forgot I even did that tour with him.
That's
Uh,
awesome though.
yeah, so he was on a tour that I happened to be on. I wasn't even performing. I was on a Periphery tour,
Yeah.
like running merch for them and helping them out.
Merchant. There you go.
Yeah, yeah. I was in between tours and they needed somebody.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's crazy. I completely forgot that I actually had toured with Des prior to that.
That's freaking awesome though, dude. Like, I don't know, man, but it just like stuff like that seems like fate sometimes, you know? Like
Sure.
just the fact that like y'all kind of were like right there but never actually made a band until like the perfect moments. That's freaking
Yeah, I mean, it honestly is blowing my mind that I couldn't even remember that, like, because none of us were partying. It wasn't.
yeah.
It wasn't like a man that tour
We
was
were
a
totally
blur.
messed up the whole time.
It
Yeah.
was more like I went up to him and was like, "Hey, thank you for recommending me to Tesseract." I was still in Tesseract at the time,
hmm
and I don't know. I guess we'd bump into each other, but I guess we never hung out because I really totally
Yeah.
forgot about that.
That's cool though. That's pretty wild, man.
Yeah.
Well, also speaking of like your relationship with some of the members in Periphery, what was it like beating Jake's ass in UFC 3?
Well, it was great doing that for the first. So I guess for anybody who doesn't know, Jake and I love UFC 3. I'm a big boxing fan.
Me
I don't
too.
only recently
hmm
within the last 2 years have gotten into the UFC. So I'm
hmm
not well versed in the UFC.
Yeah.
I didn't. I guess for whatever reason, I just wasn't really attracted to the sport prior to
hmm
getting the game. I got to be honest. The game is what got me into UFC.
It
Uh,
changed me.
that and getting DAZN so I could watch
Oh
Bellator.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, for anybody that doesn't know, me and a friend of mine, a very good friend, one of my best friends, we play UFC 3 on Xbox,
So fun.
and we get real heated in these matches. And we had a little tournament, a best of what was it, a best of 5, I
Mhm.
guess. I knocked him out twice. He asked me to change the rules so he could see the meters, and then he came back and won 2 in a row, and then I edged out a decision.
Take it.
But in all fairness to him, we ran it back like 2 months later.
Mhm.
Same thing happened. I had a nice 2 knockout lead.
Mhm.
I gave away the third match. I think I gave that away.
It's like a sympathy layup, kind of.
No, I think I got too comfortable. I didn't protect myself. He
Yeah.
knocked me out.
Oh,
Then he won a decision, and the only reason he won the tiebreaker
Mm-hmm.
is because I got tired. That's
Hand
pretty much
cramps,
it.
dude. Hand cramp.
He beat me, but and I'll give him credit, but he won because I got tired.
Is
That's
there
it.
going to be like a best of 3 now? You're going to do a best of 3? I mean, you can't leave it at a tie, you know?
We bought UFC 4 on
Yes.
release day.
Yes.
We don't play it. We've
Okay.
never played it together. Never played it. I think we're already over it.
Yeah. Nice. You guys should sell tickets, okay? It should be the next like Logan Paul versus whoever he's gonna fight. Like y'all should sell tickets on YouTube for freaking live shows. I don't know.
Well,
Man.
it was free, and I mean, I think 90 people at the most watched it at one time. So I think I think those numbers would drastically decline if we sold
I
it.
thought you were gonna say blow up, but you're like,
Oh, no. Hey, remember that free thing that not that many people watched? Well,
we're doing it for a third time, baby.
Yeah.
Yes, man. So, do you're a boxing fan? Did you watch the Lomachenko fight?
I sure did.
Dude,
I watched it with. I have 2 very good friends that I watched these with, and
Mhm.
that's and we obviously we were safe. We didn't watch it in the same room, but
Mhm.
through we live tweeted it to each other or live texted.
Yeah,
Is
that's awesome.
Emil Wursler, who was from Doth, and Chimera. Is that how you say the band?
Mhm.
Yeah, he played guitar with them,
Oh, that's awesome.
and Dusty Waring from Between the Buried.
Bam. Yeah.
Yeah,
dude,
We're
nice.
we have a little boxing chat that we talk
What?
boxing every day.
I freaking love it, dude. Hell yeah.
Yeah, the Lomachenko fight was
It was. Sad.
I guess nothing away from Lopez, but I
Mhm.
feel when you are that much bigger,
Mhm.
and you have the speed to match,
Yeah.
it's going to be pretty easy. He took some shots, but he also kind of just ate them. He kind of just shook them off.
Mhm.
Unless he was when he got exhausted, you could see he was feeling it, and maybe
Yeah.
if Lomachenko had mounted an offense earlier, it would have
Mhm.
taken its toll. And he also, I think he has a shoulder injury, so who
Yeah.
knows?
He wasn't able to set up his angles right. I didn't feel like I was going for Lomachenko. I was like, man, he's my dude. I'm like, I don't know. I'm a
I
huge
like the
fan,
weight
but-
class, but I'm not super invested in
Yeah,
it. So
yeah.
I didn't really care either way.
Mhm.
When I saw the disadvantage that he had in terms of size,
Mhm.
I rooted for him as the underdog. But
Yeah.
Lopez fought a beautiful fight, so
He
you
did,
can't
he
really
did.
take anything away from him.
Yeah, yeah. What do you think about like what they're doing now with like the Mike Tyson fighting, and then I guess they're starting like a League of Legends, I think is what they're calling it. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I'm not necessarily excited for it. You know, a long time ago, the NBA during their All Star game would have like a
Mhm.
Legends sort of deal,
Yeah, yeah,
and a bunch of guys got a bunch of knee injuries, heart palpitations. I mean,
yeah. Might not be the most healthy idea out there, especially Mike Tyson, man. I mean, like me and you, he could probably knock us out. Like
he
not
would
even a
definitely
problem.
knock
He
us
could
out.
he could drop me. But like, and I think he's got a really good fight IQ. He's a very intelligent boxer, but it's just I don't know if he's gonna be able to hold it up for like. Are they doing like 8 or 10 rounds? I can't
Is
remember.
it that much?
Something like that.
I don't know. I mean, I know it's an exhibition, but
Yeah.
I mean, who? I mean, is that supposed? What is an exhibition boxing match supposed to be between sparring and a real fight? You
Yeah,
know,
I don't know. I think so. I think it's supposed to be somewhere in between there. But like, I don't know. You know that Mike Tyson's gonna go for the knockout, and probably so is Roy. So like,
it's deadly.
yeah,
You know what else was an exhibition fight was Apollo Creed versus Ivan Drago. And
yeah,
saw
yeah.
what happened there. You
We
know,
all saw the outcome of that.
you can't trust an ex. I mean,
No.
unless they have a, I think just to they should have Nady referee it, the guy who doesn't give a fuck, and
Yeah.
they should use Reyes gloves just
Oh my
so
God. Yeah,
so
dude.
there's not. I mean, if you're gonna, you might as well just go all out with this.
Make it happen, dude.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, you said you just recently kind of more last 2 years got into UFC, but do you know who Mario Yamazuki or Yamazuka? How do you pronounce his last name? He was like,
Is he a ref?
yeah,
So I know the name. That's
yeah.
completely it. Is he somebody that just jumps in late all the time, or
No, he just doesn't jump in. Like
he doesn't even jump
the
in?
last fight that he refed, it was Bullet Valentina Shevchenko and another girl. I can't remember what her name was, but dude, Bullet beat her to like a bloody pulp for 5 rounds. It was like championship rounds, and he didn't step in the whole time. She's like laying there getting just elbow, 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 and like the ref's like,
I
nope, you
guess they
good.
had
You still alive,
you know,
right? We're just
yeah. As long as there's some visual,
yeah,
I guess they're okay with
yeah.
letting it go on.
Get that guy in there. Just let him.
Yeah.
But
Or
no.
get the ref from Rocky 4.
I mean, yes, 100%. Get the actual actor right now. Like, I don't know if that guy's still alive. Dude.
let me check the battery on this real quick. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, yeah, no problem, man.
Or if the flashlight's here. Okay, it's 27. It's very bizarre. When I turned on my camera,
Mhm.
because this isn't like a laptop. I'm streaming from my GoPro.
Oh, nice. There you go.
This thing was fully charged like a week ago, and it was
Mhm.
off. But I think the battery just drains even when it's
Oh, yeah,
off.
yeah, it definitely does.
I
Definitely.
turned it
does.
on like 20 minutes prior to this, and it was at 5%. I was
Oh
like,
my God.
So I charged it up to 20, and it hasn't even budged. So
Nice. Hell yeah, man. Well, I guess we can wrap it up pretty soon, but I did want to ask you another question. I am a huge Dragon Ball Z nerd. I've got like Dragon Ball Z stuff everywhere. I've got a Vegeta tattoo. How was like doing vocals on a song for them? How was that? Did you get to have any interaction with like the people behind it, and how were you approached?
So I have a friend who, first off, it was an honor to do that,
Hell yeah.
without question. The prestige, the show has tremendous prestige and history,
Mhm.
but I didn't grow up watching the cartoon or very
Mhm.
much anime.
Yeah.
But I had plenty of friends that did, so
Mhm.
I knew that this was something very important to its community.
Yeah.
Uh, a friend of mine had done a few songs for them
Mhm.
through Funimation, and he recommended me because I guess they needed a tenor
Mhm.
for a song, and I did one about 3 years ago, I guess,
Mhm.
and I seemed to go over pretty well. And then they asked me to do the Ultimate Battle,
Dude,
and
yes.
I think their fan base was a little split on my rendition of it, and I could see why, because I think I tried to approach it too much. Too technically as a
Mhm.
singer,
Mhm.
versus matching the intensity of the scene.
I
So I
see.
could see why there was some criticism for that. I think when people looked at what it was and like the performance of it, they were into it. I think they just
Mhm.
didn't think it matched the Japanese version, and
I
that's
see.
fair. I could agree with that.
Man,
Which wasn't my intent. I mean, I
yeah.
if I was to go back and do it now, I think I would know how to do a better job of it. But it was cool. Like I said, I really respect the franchise and its fans. I think
Mhm.
a franchise like that having as dedicated of a fan base,
Yeah.
I think that's incredible. I mean,
It,
that's what you can only hope for. And honestly, all I wanted to do was just do the best I could for them.
yeah. I think it's cool just knowing, like, I mean, I don't know. Honestly, I was going through Dragon Ball Super, and this was after I started listening to your band, and then I was in like that episode. It's like they're doing it was pretty much just a funny episode of Dragon Ball Z, and they're like doing some baseball game, and then at the end of it, I was like, dude, that sounds exactly like Good Tiger. What? And then like, I don't know. I was like, what the fuck? It was freaking awesome. But
It was certainly one of the more random kind of gigs I've done. I don't
yeah.
ever do. I get asked. I'm not. I don't get asked a tremendous amount of time, but I get asked often enough to
Hmm.
do guest vocals for bands.
Hmm.
Um, I've never really felt that me doing something like that really adds anything to a band's thing. So I usually, I politely decline to do that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
got asked. I got asked to do a read through for a band,
Hmm.
and I loved that. I
That's
was
really
reading a
cool.
monologue. I thought
Yeah.
that was really cool.
Yeah.
And this was something as well that just seemed different.
Hmm.
So yeah, I jumped all over it.
Yeah.
If I could, my ultimate goal would be to do something for in the video game industry like that.
Dude,
That would
yes.
be like I could say my career was successful if I
Yeah.
get something like that.
Dude, you are on the path to doing that, my friend. I'm just saying, like, if anybody from hearing your story and like hearing how like you've gone from one to the next, like you're definitely somebody that I can see doing that soon. Like it's gonna fall into your plate somehow, man.
Well, hopefully the phone hasn't been ringing, so we'll see.
Pick up your phone, people.
Yeah.
But yeah, is that kind of like where you're wanting to go from here? Like you're still, obviously you said you'd be cool with even releasing another Good Tiger album within the next year, you said? And
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I would like to start working on it at the end of this year. I don't.
yeah.
There's every musician.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm sure you know this. Yeah, like the hardest part is just finding the time to kind of sit down and write.
Hmm.
And who doesn't have enough time to do that right now?
For real,
You know?
yes.
So,
100%.
my wife works, and she
Hmm.
has always said, hey, my job, aside from the band, is taking her to and from work. So
Well,
I have a
dude,
lot of downtime during the day, and it's usually spent right here just working on something that hopefully will make it to the album.
dude, you've got to have. Can you please your next album just be called "Driving Miss Coleman," and then it's just songs you wrote while to and fro? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get her as a guest vocal too. I mean, we sing, we have some sing-alongs throughout. So
No, that's awesome though, man. Heck yeah. Very cool, man. Well, so and then you're working on that. You do you Twitch stream, but is that something that you're going to be scheduling out, or do you have a pretty set schedule with your Twitch streaming, or
I don't
you're not doing
I
it
don't
very much?
no I don't Twitch stream at all. I mean, I did a little bit of that maybe like when the PlayStation 4 was like brand new, and like I
Okay.
realized you could do it from there.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done it once since I've gotten my new setup, just
Mm-hmm.
to try to see if I could
Yeah.
I guess just work on some music and have a bit of an audience. But
Mm-hmm.
I find that I don't at this moment have a tremendous amount to talk about. And I've also realized that a lot of the comments, the questions are kind of the same. So I'm usually kind
Yeah.
of repeating myself. So
Yeah.
maybe if I have more stuff to kind of work with, I'll
Mm-hmm.
get to the point where that would be something I'd be interested in doing, but
It's so
not at the
wild.
moment.
Like hearing you say that is wild, man. Because like, there's people that are Twitch streamers that are just like, I don't know, like they work at like, I don't know, like Walmart or something like that. Which is nothing wrong with working at Walmart, but I'm just saying like they're like, and then you've got like touring history experience with like some crazy legendary bands. Your band itself is doing like amazing. You've got freaking record releases. You've got so much. I would think that you've got like, like people would want to hear that, you know?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I can't say I'm Mr. Personality, so I mean that could have something to do with it. You know, it's some people are gravitate towards
Hmm.
some people more than others. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, I have a small I have a small dedicated, very small dedicated fan base of people that enjoy the content I create. You know, musically and everything. And
Yeah.
you know, I never try to not answer like a message or something.
Yeah.
I always try to get back to somebody.
I think that's awesome, man. You definitely stand out in that aspect. A lot of people like will leave you on red, man, you know?
I'm not big enough yet. Once I blow up, that's what's gonna happen. Till then,
You gotta
I gotta
get
fight
top.
for gotta
I'm
fight
telling
for
you.
every person there. You know.
You're like, wait, what? What's that? Yes,
I,
man.
I don't I honestly I don't even I've been asked again, not a tremendous amount, but
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten asked. This is only the second interview that
Yeah.
I've done for since the album, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm the only one in the band that's done it, which should, I guess,
Yeah.
show you either A, how much I enjoy doing these, or B, how much we care about promoting our record. I don't know. But I figured it would probably be maybe a good idea to kind of step out of
Yeah.
the kind of thing. I've mentioned I mentioned to you, I was like, you know, I have
Mm-hmm.
some social anxieties,
Mm-hmm.
and they're certainly not crippling. I mean, I don't have a problem having a conversation.
Yeah.
It's just not something I've ever really been used to. Being on stage is easy because you can kind of just pretend throughout there, but having a conversation with somebody you've never met, you know, it
Yeah.
could be a little daunting at times.
Mm. Which is weird because man, for me, like I'm the opposite of on that aspect. Like anytime I've ever played shows, like I'll throw up beforehand. I'll puke. I'm like just so like nervous, can't really even talk. And then I get on stage and I'm like, okay, we're good. But like,
I mean, I've been there as well. You know, coming back from, you know, funny enough, when Good Tiger's first show,
mm-hmm,
um, or maybe really our first show with Periphery,
mm-hmm.
because that was like a pretty big crowd. Uh, you know, I don't get nervous, but I was so nervous before that my eyes were like bloodshot red.
Oh
I
my
had so much
god,
adrenaline
yeah.
going through me, and I was just like what's going? Like I couldn't even focus. Like when somebody was talking to me. I always found the small shows to be
Mm-hmm.
equally fun, but nerve wracking beforehand, just because it's, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, I've played some pretty bad weather shows, you know,
Mm-hmm.
where like, or maybe even a show under headliner where there was probably like, I don't know, 30 people. So it was
Mm.
like, there's not a lot here and everyone's going to really be paying attention to you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But then also, you know, you play a 2,000 cap room and the whole room's moving with you.
Ah,
That's
that's so
easy.
cool.
It's bizarre to say, but the bigger ones were always
Yeah.
the easiest.
That seems to be like the general consensus about shows like that. Like I think Mark was telling me the other day like that he said like one of his biggest shows that they ever played, you can't really even pay attention to the whole crowd really. And so he was like it's just it seems easier to do that, he said, than like a smaller room and stuff. I'm like maybe that's what I just maybe that's why I was always so nervous playing a lot of these small rooms, dude.
If I ever was getting like, if I ever heard too much of myself,
Mhm.
you know, I was on in ears, I would just turn my pack down and like I would hear myself out the front of house, but I wouldn't have to hear myself in my own head.
Yeah.
It is an odd feeling to address
Mhm.
that many people,
Yeah.
and only hear your voice.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, honestly, those were, you know, I just wanted to, the only concern I really had was performing well. Everything else was,
Yeah.
it's easy enough to talk to that many people, you know,
Mhm. Yeah,
but if
yeah.
you know, I wouldn't be able to like go into like an office meeting and give a presentation to like 30 board members and be like,
Ah, yeah,
try to
dude, I
convince
swear.
that would that's pressure.
Yeah, for real. God. But at least like in music, you know, you're kind of with like your audience in a sense. And I'm like that's going back to like the like playing with bands that are almost like they're in your genre, but they're not in like your same like they maybe just scream or they've got like growls and stuff like that the entire time. And like but at least you're still like, you know, the music genre is kind of an accepting one, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to think if there was ever a moment where we kind of stuck out where it was obvious and maybe I got self conscious.
Mm-hmm.
Um, maybe I guess I'd have to say like the first tour you did with Periphery and Veil. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
those are two heavy hitters, two
Yeah.
heavy bands. You know what I mean?
Cool.
And maybe that would have been the only time where I was like, just like tonight's not the night. I got to get off. I got
Yeah.
to get out. I got to get out of here. You know what I mean? But honestly, anything else was. You
Yeah.
like it? Cool. You don't like it? I'm sorry. We'll be off soon.
You guys only have to listen to a few more songs. I swear to
Yeah.
God. Nice, dude. I don't know. Like, I feel like my band, it was called Bradbury, and like we were kind of like a mix. We would do some really heavy songs and some kind of more like alternative, but we were never like in a like nobody was in our same exact genre. So we'd either play with people that were way heavier than us, or like we're screaming and they didn't scream at all, and it was like put us out. And but yeah, it was always weird, man. Playing with different bands like that. That's what I don't know. I just it was always odd in some way or another.
I think the one advantage maybe that kind of helped us with that was maybe the fact that we all had so much touring experience prior
Mm-hmm.
that if you see a bored crowd, you just have fun on stage with
Yeah,
each other. You know what I
just
mean?
making fun of each other the whole time and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, and again, I think if this had been our first tour ever, you feel like you got something to prove, but
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
no pressure doesn't get to you like that.
that's awesome though, man. Well, do y'all plan on doing any type of like live concerts on stream, or like any type of like taking advantage of those type things now, or are y'all gonna be doing like I know that y'all all being kind of scattered out, obviously got to affect that, but do y'all plan on doing something like this?
Um, I'd say no. I don't really know. I'm certainly not opposed to it,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not fully in favor of doing something like that because I don't even know how we would begin to practice for something like that. I mean, I know
Yeah.
bands are doing it,
Mm-hmm.
but um, I can't help but feel most of them live close enough that they're able to practice
Yeah, yeah.
first. We
And
don't
then
even
they're
have a
like,
drummer. You know what I mean? That's another thing. We don't
yeah.
even have a drummer, so
Mm-hmm.
we'd have to work that out with JP.
Mm-hmm.
So I have no idea. I have no idea. It sounds like a hassle that I don't really want. I'd rather
Yeah.
just write a new album than have
I
to play
think
anything from this one.
I think the people would probably just rather hear a new album too, though. You know what I mean? They're probably like, yes, new music.
Yeah, it'd be very odd to, you know, 3 to 4 months after our album's out. Like, all right, now we're gonna start not playing
Yeah.
live, but we're gonna start streaming.
Y'all could just do like something like this where there's like a couple of boxes, and everybody's got their own camera, and then just have like a camera for like a drum machine somewhere, like a computer or something.
We played a show like that without a drummer. We played with like a big speaker and
God, that's awesome.
in the laptop. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was one of those deals where because our previous drummer Rudy,
Mm-hmm.
he left for a family emergency,
Mm-hmm.
and we still had 2 shows left on this tour. So
Yeah.
we
Ah,
we
but
used
that
a
was.
speaker with a laptop, and as soon as the song starts, we were all kind of getting into it, and then we were like, "Man, this feels really weird." Not having that presence, so we just stood still and played, and
Yeah.
I think I sounded pretty good because
Yeah.
it was pretty controlled environment, but like there was no vibe. It was
Man.
pretty
Yeah.
awkward.
I'm always afraid. Like, we had people that were like, let's put triggers and let's do like this stuff, and like, dude, I've always been terrified of like some kind of like, if you're doing that, having the drummer come through a big speaker and then I don't know, it just starts skipping or something like that, and then all of a sudden you're like a beat behind or something. I've always been terrified.
We a few tours prior, I think this was on Dance Gavin Dance actually.
Mm-hmm.
Rudy had a wedding that he committed to for his best friend,
Mm-hmm.
and we were like, "That's awesome! Go do it. We can manage because we can. It was only one show he was going to miss,
Yeah.
so we had some people on the tour that were going to fill in,
Mm-hmm.
and Rudy's a phenomenal drummer, and he plays some hard shit.
Yeah.
But the tour we were on had a bunch of competent drummers that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we had Baca from the Contortionist. We had
Oh damn. Yeah.
Alan from Hail the Sun, and then
Mm-hmm.
There was another guy. I can't remember his name because he wasn't performing, but he played in a full-time band, but he also did crew work on the side,
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
and he filled in for one of the songs.
Mm-hmm.
And we do one of the songs with him.
Mm-hmm.
and I think he gets thrown off a little bit, which is fine. He only had a
Yeah.
very small amount of time to learn this.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can do with that amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem was we were still playing to a click.
Okay.
And I'm thinking about it now. If we could go back, I would say let's just jam it out and kind of just because he got a little off. Again, it's not like it wasn't like it could happen. But we also had the backing vocals. So when that went off, and once everything kind of got foobarred, there were backing vocals singing like stuff, and I'm just standing there, and then I'm singing, and then trying to. It looked real. I'm sure it looked and sounded very bizarre.
That would have been like the moment I would be like, "This is my nightmare. This is my nightmare."
Like, I think I was like, yeah. I mean, it was my nightmare because I should have just went up to the laptop, hit the space bar, and been like, "That's as good as it's gonna get. We're gonna move on to the next song." Instead, I just stood there, hearing myself sing through the front of house, and
oh my god, nice.
I'm like, everyone's gonna think I'm like a big phony now.
Dude, we had one time like my lead guitarist had a Floyd Rose guitar set up, and he broke a string. It's like his first time breaking a string on stage apparently. And instead of playing the rest of the song, like he's the lead guitarist, he was like he just stops in the middle of the set, and like I'm like, what are you doing? I was like, all right. So it was so awkward though, dude, because like we played through a whole verse. And then I look over and realize he's not doing anything. He's just holding his guitar. I was like, oh my God. It was so weird, dude. But we ended up getting him like a spare Hello Kitty guitar, and he played the rest of the set.
Oh my goodness.
It was awesome. It was beautiful.
We had a similar thing in Pittsburgh. Des, we were with I the Mighty, and the stage we were on was small enough that we just, we had a back line. Or rather, there was a back line, but we couldn't fit our guitar boats on stage.
Yeah.
And, this doesn't happen often, but Des broke like his top string.
Oh, God.
And he had to run downstairs to the green room, like during the song, to go get his guitar and bring it up. And like, on my right is Joe playing more the ambient parts, not the driving parts. And I think the bass kind of drops in and out throughout this too. So it was just one of those things where, like, the main driving part of that song was just not there.
I think like to us, maybe being like being on stage and trying to like create this thing. Like I think for us, maybe that was like one of those moments that were like terrified or something. But for the crowd, hopefully at least there was a few people in the stage or in the crowd that night watching and just being like, "This is freaking awesome!" Like because it's a live show, like.
They want to see like a little bit of chaos.
Yeah. Some people just want to watch the world burn.
Yeah, it can be entertaining, I'm sure.
Right.
See, like how are they going to pull this off? Because the guy's still not back yet with another guitar.
Dude, I speaking of like social anxiety, I had like a panic attack one time. Like the place that we were playing, like the power went out, and before it came back on, the guy was like, "Look, as soon as it gets on, you guys are on stage, and then you got to cut like a couple of songs because we're so far behind." It was like an hour or something after. And like, all right, whatever. And normally before a show, I'll like throw up and I'm like, get it out of my system. And then I'll be Mr. like personality. So no warning, power comes back on. Dude's like, get on stage now. We're like, oh my God, get on stage. Play through the first song. I'm okay. And then like I start doing like the like talking through my teeth, like clenching my jaws. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm about to puke. So like I look over to my bass player. I'm like, dude, entertain him. I'll be right back. And I like, there's a door like 2 or 3 steps up to the right. And there's like a door. You could just like open the door and go out. I was like, I'll be right back. I'm going to go puke. So I like leave out that door. My bass player starts singing A Whole New World. The whole crowd starts singing it with him. I'm out like back behind the stage, like just puking everywhere. And I had like a wireless mic set up or like a wireless guitar thing.
I know where this is going.
So I kicked the door open. I did like do-do-do-do-do-do and jumped off the stairs. And then we went into the second song. That was like the worst moment of my life, followed up by like something really fun. Like I think if I was in the crowd, I would have been like, yes. But Like I was like, I'm gonna puke all over the front row.
He it sounds like he saved saved the moment for sure.
Yeah, I think
Good to
everybody
have
was.
somebody like that.
Yeah, everybody was like, "What is he doing? He's singing a whole new world," and then they were just like, "Fuck it, let's just sing with him. I don't care." It was random. Well, man, I know you got to get going, and I thank you so much for your time today, brother. But in the meantime, how can people reach you, and what is the future looking like, man?
The future is more good tiger. You know,
Hell yeah.
I'm just gonna keep writing and putting stuff out, and gonna continue to hope that people will listen. You know, as long as people are digging it,
Heck yeah,
you know,
man.
that's really all I'm into.
Heck yeah.
Can I
But
plug something real quick?
what was that?
Can I plug some stuff real quick?
Yes, for sure. Please do.
I know Spencer has an album out now, the Mothership
Hmm.
album. So check that out. He did a real good job on it. You can check that out, I think, out on Spotify. Um, Plenty, you know, he has pre-orders for his new album coming out. The single sounds great. So go to his page and pre-order it because he's going to have some great stuff coming out.
Heck yeah, man. And did you have something to do with that as well too?
No. I'm just
Dude, just
you
being
know,
an
they're
awesome
just,
person. Hell yeah, man. That's awesome, man. Definitely. I'll get some links as well too and post them in this video. So I'll post a link to y'all's new album. Are you okay with me posting a link to the YouTube of like where they can hear all of it, or is there a particular place you'd like me to post it?
oh no, whatever.
Nice.
I'm not picky.
Hell yeah, man. Well, dude, again, thank you so freaking much, man. And yeah, we'll catch you very soon.
No problem, John. Thanks for having me.
Yes.